Good evening and welcome to Digital Skills for Everyday Tasks, Google Docs and Slides. This is the second in the Grow with Google Black Women Lead Learning Series, hosted by the Suburban Houston Fort Bend Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. I'm Jocelyn Williams, your presenter for this evening. Delta has partnered with Google to provide free resources and content to help teach our members and the communities we serve digital skills that will help them grow professionally and as well as personally, whether they're working in their social or professional organizations or church or civic organizations. Before we get started, we'd like to do a poll of those participating. There are 4 multiple choice questions that we'd like for you to answer. Please know that your responses will not be, your personal information will not be released. What we will do is compile the answers that you provide to the questions based on demographic questions and also your familiarity with Google. So if you would spend a minute to answer the poll questions, we would appreciate that. Okay, our poll has ended. Thank you for answering those questions. Grow with Google. We want to help people grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills training and tools. So you heard correctly, this training, these tools are free. There's no charge to you. During this session, feel free to follow along on your devices as we go through this evening. In today's session, we're going to look closely at Google applications and how they can help you professionally and in everyday life remotely. We're going to look at creating a Google Doc around planning an event, and we'll also look at creating a status update presentation using Google Slides. Before we get much further, if you haven't already, I'd like for everyone to mute their microphone. This will help prevent interruptions, distractions, and also the chat feature is open. If you have questions, you can put your questions into the chat. And during the session, I will be asking questions of you and ask for you to respond in the chat. Now let's talk about the agenda for this evening. And today we're going to focus, of course, on Google Docs and Google Slides, but we're also going to look at the Google account, signing in, accessing the Google Drive. The Google Drive, it's free, it's cloud-based digital drive where you store your files, your folders, your projects. And then, of course, we're going to specifically look at the Google applications, Docs and Slides. These are skills that you can use at work, you can use at home, church, in your various organizations. We'll also look at some resources that are available to you to help you expand your knowledge. We'll summarize and talk about evaluation. So you'll get lots of hints and tricks today that will make your life a lot easier. Now let's do a quick connect before we move further. I'd like to know, what do you already know about Google? In the chat, if you would indicate what Google applications are you familiar with? What Google applications have you used? What do you already know about Google? Email. I use email every day. So certainly. What are some other apps? Drive, Slides, Docs, Sheets, email, the search engine, forms, Google searches. I would say that I use the email, the calendar, and the search engine every single day. So we're going to take a deeper dive into Google. Now, in order to access all of the Google applications that are available, you have to have a Google account, and you must sign into that account in order to access the free Google applications. Now, creating a Google account is easy, takes about a couple of minutes. It's free to sign up. When you sign up for a Google account, you'll be asked for your name, your phone number. You'll have to sign up or create a Gmail address, username, which will become part of your Gmail address, a password. You'll be asked to verify your information and also agree to a privacy of terms. But it is quick and easy to sign up to your Google account. Now, again, in order to access any of the Google applications, you have to first sign into Google. And this simulation shows you exactly how to do that. You select sign in, enter your username and password, and you're in Google. Now, if you and some of you mentioned that you use Google to do searches, and you can certainly do that, and you do not have to have a Google account to use the Google search engine. But in order to use the Google apps, you do have to have a Google account and sign into that account. So we've signed into our Google account. In order to access the Google applications, we have to select this Google Apps icon, which looks like, I call it a waffle symbol. You would select this icon to open this Google Apps menu and select Google Drive. And Google Drive is a key application within Google, because on this Google Drive, this is where all of your projects will be stored. All of your documents, your files, your folders, sheets, slides, all of that will be stored on that Google Drive. So it's very important anytime you create something, you want to share something, access something, it will be found on the Google Drive. So once you're in your Google account, you will access the Google Drive, launch the Google Apps menu, select Drive, which is the multicolored triangle, and you're in your Google Drive. Some great things about Google Drive is, again, it allows you to store, access, and share files with other people. And everything is in one place. All your folders, your files, your photos, everything is in one place. And instead of being stored on one computer, everything is stored in a cloud in the Google Drive. So this gives you easy access from any computer, anything with internet access, smartphone or tablet. So it's not device specific. If you have your files stored on a specific computer, let's say not in the Google Drive, and you find that you need to make updates to some files and you don't have that device with you, you can't access those files. But that's not an issue with Google because everything is stored in the Google Drive. Another good thing about Google, your files won't get lost. And even if your device crashes, and the crashes do occur unexpectedly, you can still access your files. My smartphone, multiple times, system updates happened. And one day there was a system update that wasn't unusual. But for some reason, this system update on my smartphone was taking a great deal of time. I could not turn my phone off. I couldn't restart it. I couldn't cancel the update. I couldn't do a hard shutdown. I took the phone to my service provider, Verizon. The technician did his diagnostics and he said, this can't be fixed. You need a new phone. Very inconvenient, but it wasn't an issue in terms of being able to access any files or photos that I had because everything was saved to the cloud. So that's another great thing about Google. If device crashes, you can still access your files, your photos and folders. Another great feature of Google, anything that you work on is automatically saved to Google Drive. You don't have to remember to save your document or save your work. It's automatically done for you. So that's another plus for Google. And today we're going to look specifically again at the apps, Docs and Slides. This illustration shows you within the Google applications menu, you will see these applications: Sheets, Docs, Slides, Photos, Chrome, and Gmail. These are just some that you will see. And again, once you sign into your Google account, you have access to these applications that we see here on the screen, as well as others, free of charge. There's only a single sign-on. Once you sign into your Google account, you access the Google applications menu, and you can move from one application to another. You don't have to sign into each application that you use. You can easily move between all the applications. When you launch the Google applications menu, it'll show you all of the Google applications that are available to you. At the bottom of that menu is More. You select that and it will show you all that are available. Now let's focus on creating a meeting agenda with Google Docs. I'm sure that all of you have been a part of a committee where you're planning a meeting or an event, whether at work or within an organization, and you're working with other people, attending meetings and doing the planning. And in order for your meeting to run efficiently, you need that roadmap. You need an agenda that's going to cover the items that need to be addressed. Someone will be taking notes to record action items and discussion points. And Google Docs, you can use that application to create, share meeting notes, and even collaborate in the same document from anywhere at the same time. So that's another benefit we're going to talk about in detail. Now, to access Google Docs, we have signed into our Google account, and then we access our Google Drive by going into the menu, launching the Google Apps menu, and selecting Drive from the menu. So we're gonna look at using creating a Google Doc using a template. So we've signed into our Google account, and we are in our Google Drive, because again, in the Drive is where all the files that you create, all the documents will be stored there, and you'll be able to access everything there. So you will first select New. This has the plus sign. Google is very consistent with its messaging, and anytime you see a plus sign, you want to remember, I'm going to be adding something. When I select an icon that has a plus sign, I will be adding. So to access Google Docs, step 1, we're going to select New with the plus sign. That will open up an options drop down. Select Google List, the Google Docs, just click the arrow next to Google Docs. And then from there, you'll see 2 options, blank document and from template, when we're going to be looking at using a template. So we would select from a template. And this will open a template library for documents. And there are several different types that Google offers: resumes, reports, agendas, brochures, proposals, a number of different templates that are available to you. Now, in using Google Docs, you don't have to use a template. If you want to use a blank document, you can certainly do that. But a template will give you basic elements, a certain structure, so you don't have to start from the very beginning with a blank slate. But if you want to do that, you can certainly do that. So we've selected, in this example, a template, team meeting template. We're going to put together an agenda for a team meeting. Now, this particular template, if you notice, there are, again, certain basic elements or information in a template. And here in this example, we have attendees, agenda, notes, action items. Also, there's up here at the top, there's the date, the time, and location of the meeting. Now, Google will allow you to change your headings if you want to do that. You can change. These are placeholders, but you can always go in and make changes. So, for example, for attendees, you just have to select this area here and then type in the people that are attending the meeting. So all templates will have, again, basic elements or styles to get you started, and you can always change those. And in this one, as I mentioned, there are certain basic elements: attendees, agenda, notes, action items. Click a placeholder to fill in the information that is applicable to your meeting or your event. Once you have added, you can add text. You can also format the text to make it fit your style, or to make it maybe easier for recipients to read the information and review it. You can use this formatting toolbar up at the top to go from, say, a bulleted list to a numbered list, or vice versa. You can change the font sizes, the styles, or the colors. You might want to bold information or highlight information to draw attention to it. And you can change the body style of the text. So that is up to you, how you want to format the text. In addition, you can add comments to your document, make notes about things without changing the text itself. For example, you might want to put a comment in about adding an item to the meeting agenda that you're going to finalize at a later date. So you can add a note or a comment, they call it a comment, or what you might call a reminder to ask a committee member a question during the meeting. So you can add those comments. To leave a comment, what you would do is select this plus icon that's on the right of the document, and that will open up a comment box. You can select the text that you want to focus on. You can select a word, you can select a character, a phrase, an entire sentence. That's up to you. You would do that first, make your selection, and then click this plus sign on the right of the document, and it will open up a comment box. Type in the comment, and it will put a time, date stamp on it and have a comment next to the area that you highlighted. You can also open up a comment box by highlighting the text that you want to focus on, and then come up here above the toolbar, select Insert. A menu of options will display. You select Comment. That will open up the comment box. You put in your comment. Select comment, and it will save the comment for you. So there are two ways to insert comments on your document. You select the information in your document that you want to draw attention to. Select this plus sign icon on the right of the document. It will open the comment box. Enter your comment and save it. It'll save for you. Or you can use the insert above the formatting toolbar. Select comment from the insert drop-down list. So there are two ways that you can insert comments. Now, this is something that will make collaboration easier. Because when we're working on a committee, whether it's for work or something else, you're collaborating with other people and sharing information with other people. So if you want to add a comment for someone else, you can do that within the document. So you would click on the comment box, whether it be to open the comment box, whether it be to select the plus sign icon to the right of the document or use the insert comment feature. When that box opens up, you put in a plus sign as well as the email address of the person. So plus sign, email address of the person within the comment box. Enter your comment. You have a note, additional information. Maybe you want to say, please review the agenda and let me know of any changes, or please add your action items, or please review, whatever the case may be. And what Google will do is send an email to that person with your comment and a link to the document. So they will know that you've sent them this comment, and they will have a link to access the document and review your comment and take any action that you may have asked them to do. And that makes collaboration a lot easier. So for example, if I'm working on a committee and I want my co-chair to perhaps fill in the agenda before the meeting, I can add a comment and send, once that comment box opens up, enter a plus sign followed by the email address, in this instance, my co-chair, put in my comment, and then the co-chair will receive an email from me with my comment and a link to the document. So if you have action items or you have certain tasks that you want assistance with, you could send comments to the people that you are collaborating with virtually. Now you can also share files with other people. And there are different ways that you can do that. This is a great feature with Google Docs, is not only do you have the ability to collaborate with different people within the same document, you can collaborate at the same time. You know, in the past, when you're trying to collaborate on the same document, you would make your changes, save it, email it to someone else, then they'd have to download it, make their changes, save it under a different file name, then upload it, send it back, and just a lot of back and forth and saving, resaving. And that's a lot of steps that had to be taken just to edit and collaborate on the same document. Well, Google has eliminated all of this. And if any of you went through a previous process where you had a number of people collaborating on a document, making changes, making updates, putting in status, there was version control involved. And in cases like that, sometimes committee members or team members found themselves updating the not the latest version of the document. And I have to admit that did happen to me. Times I made my updates, everything looked good, and then realized I didn't make my updates to the latest version of the document. Or having a check-in, check-out process, which helps with document control. That is true. But if I have the document checked out and I'm making my changes, you can't make your changes if that document is checked out. That document has to be checked in and available for you to make your changes. And if you have a large team, a large committee, it may take a great deal of time for everyone to make their changes, and that can be an issue. But with Google, that is not an issue at all. You can collaborate on projects with anyone, anywhere at the same time just by making changes. Google Docs will capture all of the changes that you make, and there's only one version of the document, so you don't need to worry about working on the wrong version of the document, which is great, great, great. And also, you can choose to share with specific people, and you can control the access that they have to the document. So you can control the access, you can control who can access the document across your team or across individuals, and you can add comments, as I mentioned. Okay. Go back. I went back too far. Now, another way to grant access, you can share a document with someone directly. You can type in the individual's email address into the document, and then you can decide what level of access that you want to give that person. You may decide, say, for your committee co-chair, I want my co-chair to be able to view the document, comment, and also edit the document. So when an individual can edit, what you're doing is you're allowing that person to go in directly into the document and make any changes that they want to make to the document. And for someone who may be taking notes during a meeting, they would need to be able to edit the document. So keep in mind, when you're giving edit access, you are allowing that individual to modify that document. If you want them to comment, that allows a person to go in and add comments to the documents, but they will not be able to change anything in the document. They can only comment. They can view the document and they can comment. For example, you may want meeting participants to review the notes after the meeting and maybe add comments about maybe items that were discussed and maybe more clarification is needed, maybe something was left out of the notes. They can put in their comments. They can add their comments. They won't be changing the document, but they can add their comments. View, you're allowing individuals to see the document. They cannot comment. They can't make any changes to the document. An example of this, maybe there is a volunteer for an event or a person who's not involved in maybe planning, but that person needs to know details about the meeting or the event. So they would have view access. They can see the document, read it, but they can't comment. They can't make any changes. Now here on the screen, you see there's a box here, notify people. That's the default. It will be checked when you share, determine that you want to share a document. And when you do that, you can add notes here, add a note here. And again, that person will receive an email and with your note and their access, you've determined their access level ahead of time. So they'll either be able to view only, view and comment, or view, comment, edit. Now, if you uncheck this box and you do have that option, they will not receive an email about the fact that you're sharing this document with them. Now, let's look at this from this angle, controlling who sees the files, sharing access to different files within groups and between people. We're in our Google Drive, and on our Google Drive, we have an agenda. Let's say we're planning a special event. We have an agenda, and we want to share that agenda with the members of the committee. So we have an agenda. We also have a budget, but we only want to share that budget with the finance chair that's on the committee. So there's Google provides a way for you to share access with certain individuals. So all of these individuals are part of the same group or planning committee, but the access is different here. So you can give different people different levels of access to a file. And again, those levels, they can view only, comment, view and comment, or just, or view, comment, and edit. You can also give people access to a folder, and any files within that folder, they will also have access to. And you can also give people outside of your committee or outside of your organization access. So you can share access with, work colleagues, with committee members, with clients, customers. So you can share the information with a variety of people. And again, you can set the level of access that they have to these documents. Now, just the quick, if I want to access Google Docs, in order to access Google Docs, what do I have to do to access Google Docs? If I want to access Google Docs, do I have to, let me ask this question, do I have to have a Google account to access Google Docs? Yes, I do. Now, if all I want to do with Google is search the internet for data, do I have to have a Google account? No. If all I want to do is use that Google search engine, I don't have to have a Google account. Okay, I want to use the Google applications. And I know I need to set up a Google account. Is there a charge for setting up the Google account? What is the cost for setting up a Google account? There's no charge. That's correct. There's no charge for setting up a Google account or for using any of the Google applications. There's no charge at all. Now, something I didn't mention, when you sign up for a Google account, you're also given 15 gigabytes of storage space. And at any given point in time, you can look and see how much storage space you've used, and how much you have remaining. If you find as time goes on that you need more than 15 gigabytes, you can always purchase additional space from Google, but you will be given, just by signing up and getting a Google account, you'll be given 15 gigabytes of storage space. So, and I see that a lot of us are thinking ahead, right on track. We want to access Google Docs. And so we're going to sign into our Google account. And then we're going to launch that Google applications menu, using that waffle symbol, that icon, to show us the list of Google apps that are available to us. Now, if I want to see the Google folder files or documents that I have created, what application am I going to use in Google to see my files, my folders? If I go to the Google, I launch the Google Apps menu, which icon am I going to select to see my files and my folders? I want to see the files and folders that I've created. I'm going to use the drive. Yes, I'm going to access Google Drive, which is the multicolored triangle. The Google Drive is going to show me all of the docs, all of the files and folders that I've created. It's also going to show me any files that have been shared with me, that other people have shared with me. It will show me that as well. So very, very good, very good. And on that Google applications menu, we want to access Google Docs, we'll select Docs within Google Drive. Let's see if we have any other questions. Let's see, there's a question. This participant has found that only people with Gmail accounts are able to save the document. Is there any advice you have about? Now, Google admits that it works best, everything works best with those who have a Gmail account, even though you can use other people with other email addresses can certainly access, you can share Google files with non-Gmail account users, but it does work best with Gmail. Now, even though it's an extra step, you could, if you have problems, you could download your file and then email it to them. But that has worked for those of, well, I don't have, and that I've come across that too. I'm needing to share a document with someone who doesn't use Google. They're, say, a Microsoft user. I don't have Google. I use Microsoft. So what I found works well for me is just to download the file that I want to share and then email it to them. Yeah. So, but I encourage them to, you need to switch to Google. I do tell them that. It's free. There's no charge, and there's so many benefits to using Google. You can still use Microsoft. I mean, like, my employer is very much into Microsoft applications and tools, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Everything is Microsoft, not Google, not even the search engine. Microsoft's not going away, but I do encourage people to, if you can make the switch, to go ahead and make the switch. It's seamless, it's not difficult, and there's just so many benefits that come with it. Now let's look at another Google application, Slides, and for Microsoft users, think of PowerPoint. Now let's imagine that we are planning an event, maybe a fundraiser or some other special event, and we're using a to-do list, and we're collaborating as a committee and putting an agenda together. And we need a way to communicate effectively, not only within our committee, but within a larger group. Because we want to be able to give people a status or an update on our progress, and to maybe get input on the planning that we're doing. So for these situations, whether it's something small or something larger, you can build a presentation in Google Slides to help with that. A slide deck that will keep everyone on track, keep everyone on pace, and keep everyone engaged and aware of what exactly is going on. So now let's take a look at using a presentation and sharing our progress and the ideas that we have as we are putting together a special event. And we're going to use Google Slides to do that. As with other projects, we're going to start off with a template to help with some of the overall design and the basic elements. Again, you can certainly use a blank slide, but with Google, there's a template gallery and there are a variety of templates that you can use, and you can go in and make changes to those templates to suit your style and your needs. So just as with Google Docs, Google Slides is an application within Google, and to get to that application, we have to sign into our Google account, and we're going to launch that application menu, select Slides, and so I'm sorry, we're going to select the we're going to launch the application menu, select Drive. We're going to go to Drive, and then from there we're going to select New, the plus sign icon. That's going to launch options. We're going to select Google Slides. We have two options, blank slides or from a template. We're going to select from a template, and once in the template gallery, we're going to select status report. And again, the template gallery, you'll find there are different templates for various presentations. Maybe you want to pitch an idea, implement a program, provide a status update, or do some type of lesson, teach a lesson. So you open the template that you use, and we're selecting status report for this example. And it will pull up a status report. Again, the templates will have certain design elements and styles in it that will help get you started. And so you don't have to work from a blank slate if you don't choose to do so. Now, again, to access Google Slides, we're going to sign into our Google account, access the application menu, select Drive, and in Drive, we're going to select that new with the plus sign. Then we're going to select Slides, and then select from a template and choose status report in the template gallery. The template has, as with all templates, has built-in categories designed to update, and in this case, update anyone who's viewing it on deadlines, accomplishments. Maybe there were some speed bumps that you want to keep everyone informed about. Within the template, you can use the formatting toolbar to change the categories, the slide layout, the colors, the design, and there's a variety that you can choose from. So you can customize your presentation. The first thing you'd want to do is give your slide a title, name it, maybe put a date on it. And you can easily edit the text on the slide to explain the purpose of the presentation. You can use text boxes or shapes and easily type over the placeholder text to fit your specific project or event. Every template has a pre-designed layout to it, and you can change that layout to present different information, a main point, important options, captions. You can add slides, you can delete slides. So again, you can tailor it to specifically what you want. As you build your presentation, you may want to add images. You can do that. You can add video that will engage your audience. You can include photos. You might want to add financial information to your spreadsheet, so you can link to a chart or a graph that will highlight budget information. So you can always add those elements to your presentation. So you can, again, use the formatting options on this toolbar. You can also insert format using the options up above that. Now, within Google Slides, there are images that you can use. So you can find one that fits your presentation. But if you pull something from, say, the internet, you want to make sure you have the right to use that image. But if you're using something from a Google Slides application, you know that it is free for you to use. But do keep in mind, if you're pulling images from somewhere else, you want to make sure that you do have the right to use those images. Now, you created a slide deck to provide an update on your special event or your project. You can collaborate. So you can share your presentation with other committee members or other people on the team and get their input. And you can make it available, or you can make it available to everyone who will be in the audience. And again, you can use settings so you can share the same share process that we did with docs. You can indicate the level of access that collaborators will have to the presentation. Just keep in mind, if you give someone access to edit, you're allowing them to go in and make whatever changes they want to that. So that level of access, you need to be aware of who you're giving it to, and realize that, okay, I want them to be able to make changes, or no, I don't want them to be able to make changes. I want them to be able to view it, make comments, but I don't want them to be able to make changes. But you can control who has access and the level of access that they have. And Google makes it very easy to collaborate and share amongst the committee members. So it's a very streamlined and time-efficient process. When you are using Google, we know that we need to, if you want to use the Google apps, we know you need to sign into your Google account to use the apps. Even though it is free of charge, you must have a Google account. Now, once you have signed into your Google account and you want to use one of the Google apps, or maybe you want to use more than one Google app, do you need to sign on to the Google app as well? Once you've signed into your Google account, is another sign-on required to use one or more of the Google apps? No. It's a single sign-on. That is correct. Once you sign on to Google, you have access to all of the applications within Google. So that's a single sign-on process. Now, if I'm using Google, and let's say I am at a business conference, and when I originally created my Google files, I was using my tablet. I'm at this conference and I have a laptop with me. I need to make changes to my presentation. Will I be able to access my Google slide presentation? I created it. When I created that presentation, I was on my tablet. And now I'm at this conference and I have my laptop. Yes, I will. That is correct. I will be able to make changes because Google is cloud-based. It is not device or computer specific, which is a great thing. So if you find yourself, again, if you're at a public library, if you're in the FedEx Copy Center, you're in the hotel business center, you can sign into your Google account, access your Google Drive, and make changes to any of your documents. You can, from there, also share your documents with someone else. So you're not limited to a specific device, which is another good plug I put in for people that are, I don't have Google. Well, it's a good idea. If you have Google, you're not device specific. If your device crashes, do you have to worry about your files and your folders in Google if your device crashes? I created my files on my laptop, and my laptop has crashed. It cannot be used. Are my files, my Google files and folders, in danger? Have I lost everything that I created because my computer crashed? No, I have not. Because again, with Google, everything created is saved to a cloud, a secure location on the internet, not device specific. I can access those files and share those files from anywhere, any device that has internet access. So it doesn't matter if the device crashes or it can crash, and those happen, but it won't have any negative impact on me being able to access my files or share those files with anyone. So that's another plus for Google. Another thing I use to, another justification I give people for making that switch. If you can make the switch, that I do encourage. Very much so. Do we have any questions? Let's see. Just to do a recap, with Google Tools, you can access all of the tools within Google once you sign into the Google account. They're free for you to use. There are templates available to you that will give you basic elements and basic structure. And again, you can go in and make changes to fit your style and your preferences, the colors, the layout, the font size, the font types. You can share your documents with Google users, with non-Google users. You can determine the level of access that they have to those documents. And for collaborating, it's really good because everyone can work in the document at the same time from anywhere. There's no issue with making sure that you're making your changes to the right version of the document. You're not having to wait for everyone else to make their changes before you can touch the document. So a lot of pluses there. You can share with Google, whether it's Google Docs or Google Slides or Sheets. You can share, you can insert video. When it comes to your slides, you can insert video, photos, images, spreadsheets, graphs, charts into your presentation. And again, with all these tools, you can customize it the way that you want it to be. Now, at the beginning of the session, I asked the question, what applications have you used? What are you familiar with? And I know the forms was mentioned. That's a quick way to do surveys. And we talked about slides and docs, of course, and then Google Sites. Some of you may be familiar with that, where you can use this application to create your own websites and work portfolios. Calendar, as I mentioned, Calendar is a Google app that I use every single day for appointments and meetings. And I can check my calendar from my phone, from my laptop, from my desktop, from any internet connection. I can check that calendar. Google Meet, this is a video conferencing app, and you can use it to meet with committee members remotely. I've used the app to meet with Google Meet to meet with family members. We used it as part of a family reunion planning event. We met via Google Meet. So there are a number of applications that you can explore within Google and just make things a lot more efficient and really streamline how you collaborate and share with other people. Okay. Now, I want to point out there's some other resources that you can use, and I encourage you to go in, examine the resources, and really expand your knowledge with Google. And of course, as with everything, the more you work with it, the more familiar you will become with it, the more comfortable you'll become with it. And it'll be a really great way for you to, again, collaborate, be more efficient, and keep great records. So let's look at some of these resources that are available. You can, in terms of applied digital skills, there are free lessons that are available. Everything is free. There's no cost to you. So there's Google has what is called Workspace, and here you can go through digital learning. There's a certification available if you want that at no cost. All the training is free. There's also a learning center where you can find answers to questions. You can see checklists for new users. There are video tutorials. If you're making the switch to Google from Microsoft, there's information about making that switch, making that a fairly seamless transition. There's you can get access to customer support in this learning center that's available through Google. There's also a primer about marketing and business. I know a lot of people have questions about that. And you can get lessons. You can download the app on your phone, on your from Google Play, or if you have Apple, the Apple Store. So the Primer, Google Primer, is an app. Download it to your phone, and you can get information about business and marketing and increase your business and marketing skills. Also, there is a online training tools, Grow with Google, and they have specific information that is useful to educators and job seekers, as well as students, military, those who are affiliated with the military, veterans and military families, developers and startups. So there's a lot of good information there that you will find, courses that will teach you. And there are just a number of resources that are available out there. So go out there and explore all of those resources that are available free of charge, available 24/7 for you to access, and just really improve on your efficiency and the way you collaborate with other people. Let's see, did we have any questions that didn't get answered? In the chat, there's a list of Google resources that have been put in the chat. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and I wish you continued success in all your endeavors. A special thank you to the members of the Suburban Houston Fort Bend Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta for their invaluable assistance and support. And also a special thank you to Second Vice President Lena Ellis for her invaluable assistance and support. And again, I encourage you to embrace Google, increase your knowledge, and because there's a lot of benefit with using Google. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for joining us.